The next step here is the hot take timer. So you have more or less 60 seconds, less is also possible, not more, to give your take on it. So the first question is, founders underestimate how much culture impacts scaling. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I fully agree. I think the culture, if you have like a lot of people who really want to conquer the world as a culture, your company is going to be far better off than if you have a culture where you allow people to stop at 4 o'clock and all of that stuff. I think culture is definitely important.
And European startups also don't think big enough, especially if you compare like US. We are often, let's say here in Belgium, we are very local thinkers. Is that something you agree or disagree?
I agree with, but it's changing slowly but surely. So it's changing, but I also think it's much more cultural. To come back to culture, Belgians are Catholic, and Catholicism is very conservative. We are probably the most conservative people in the world. So we're never gonna buy something exotic or new. We're like, and we don't want to risk anything. We don't want to risk our career by buying from a startup, and that hinders some of our technology companies.
Okay. The next one is, most investors rely too much on data and they do not follow their own instincts.
Yes, but it depends on the kind of people and the kind of fund. If you have a fund with entrepreneurial people, it's different. They work more from the gut and their experience. If you have a fund that is populated with more the McKinsey type, analyst type guys, then it's much more on the data. But data is important, but for me data is important to assess, but data is not important to like look at the future. At the future, who knows what's happening? I mean, it's much more important to see and to feel the market and to go and talk with customers and so on.
Okay. The next question is too many startups raise before they are really ready?
Fully agree. I mean, it's crazy how much money startups fund these days at which valuations. I always wonder, how are they gonna actually make money? Because it's easy to raise money, let's say at 50 million euro. There's companies that have nothing and they raise at 50 million or 40 million or 30 million. And they say, yeah, but it's simple. We're gonna sell at 500 million. And then I wonder, do they actually realize how few companies are actually achieving a 500 million euro exit? I mean, I'm not taking valuation, I'm talking exit, money on the table. Not that much. If you look into the last 10 years in Belgium, you're not gonna find that many. And so, plus also, if you look at the amount of companies that are started in technology that actually reach 10 million euro of revenue, it's only 0.3%. That's it. So all of the other 99.7% are either foolish or they're crazy, but some of them think that, okay, we're just going to start and we're going to reach 10 million in like this, and it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So.
And do you agree that startups, they don't fail because the lack of money, but the lack of focus?
Fully agree, yes. Sometimes companies are, they have a certain idea and they don't stick to their idea because the first customer or the second customer who comes and shows money and says, can you do this for me? They branch off and then they branch off for another, and after a while they have a whole tree and they don't know anymore what's the trunk and what are the trees or the branches.
Okay. Yeah. And as an investor, I don't know how many pitch decks you receive, but I guess a few. But are pitch decks not overrated and often too long and too much blah blah and not too much to the point?
Yeah, I think maximum 10 slides, no business plan, no big like written text. But I also like a story. I think a lot of pitches forget that in the first pitch, not saying the second, the third, the fourth, if you really are like talking afterwards with the investor, but the first time you meet an investor, you have to tell a story. You don't have to tell a functionality about a product. I don't care. I want to hear your story. Why are you doing what you're doing? And how do you think you're going to be successful? Tell me a story. And most of them, they don't do that. They immediately show, oh, this is my background, and then they jump into the problem, and then they jump into the solution and the functionality and so on and so on. But they don't tell me why do they experience, or why do they think, or why do they feel that is a problem. Sometimes they just say, well, I heard it somewhere or whatever. But what's the catch? Why are they doing this? Why do they want to sacrifice their time and their brain power to this problem? Why?
The next question, but you already more or less answered it, was the best founders you've backed had something to prove.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of them, I think.
Yeah.
Then another one, yeah, Belgium could lead in deep tech, but if we get out of our own way, how do you see this?
I think from the fact that you need less money, given what I've just explained, you will need less money to start. That fact, because before we had a problem, we didn't have a lot of capital to really start and become big, because you needed a lot of capital. Now you don't need that much capital. You need creativity and you need good engineers. And guess what? We have a lot of creativity in this country and we have a lot of good engineers. And so if you combine creativity, engineers with less money, the three ingredients to become this mushroom nation, they are available. And so, yes, I'm not that negative about where we are as Belgium.
Okay. And of course, let's say Europe in extension is more or less a region where companies are sold. And often it's, let's say, sometimes seen as the end. But is it really the end, or is it just chapter one?
It's definitely chapter one, because if you look into the reason why certain countries are more successful than others, it has to do with time. And what do I mean with that? They have much more second generation entrepreneurs and third generation entrepreneurs. And so guys like me who sold their company, who got money, and then what you do as a true entrepreneur, you spend that money again in others. But you do it in a much smarter way because you have experience and it can shorten the time. And the third time you do it is even better. And the fourth time you do it is even better. So if you look into Sweden, Sweden has much more unicorns than Belgium, but it's because they started way earlier with their technology companies, Nokia and the telecommunication companies. So a lot of people got a lot of money, then they reinvested and so on. So they have much more second, third generation entrepreneurs. So that's why I think the true solution to build an ecosystem and successful companies lies in the fact that you have much more second, third generation entrepreneurs who put their money back into the system and who create even more. And so today we have maybe 10, 15 Belgians who do that, but we should have 150. If we have 150, we're going to have 10 times more companies and much more successful ones, because those second generation entrepreneurs, third generation entrepreneurs help the new companies to not make the mistakes that they've made.